It's Lucy again with the Whimsical Fairy House Challenge. And yesterday I showed you how to make this structure, this fairy house cottage. But today I'm going to show you how to decorate any of the houses with a 5-petal flower. It's just kind of your standard flower. And just how to give it a little extra dimension and just things to make your flowers a little special. So let's get started. Okay, I'm in Cricut Design Space. And now we're going to do a new project, which is basically these easy flowers. These are 5-petal flowers, and I just think they look great, and they're very easy to make and give your little house a lot of personality. So we're going to go to Upload Image, and now I'm going to browse. I'm on my laptop. I always have to figure out where I've hidden everything from myself. Cricut Design Space tells me that it's a large file. Yep. There are a lot of little flowers. It takes a lot to cover the rooftop for the fairy house. So I'm going to continue. But even though Cricut warns me about that, it doesn't have any, I haven't had any trouble making these flowers, even though it warns me it's a large file. Okay, continue. Image details, this is kind of a new screen. I don't really know what it does, but it's just clear that this is what we want. I'm going to upload. And now I've got my file. I'm going to reduce the size so I can see the entire file. And then the first thing we always do is go over to this layers panel on the right side and hit the ungroup button, so we can see if everything is ungrouped, and it is. This is the base. It's an optional base. You can use whatever kind of base you want, but I did a flower design for you if that's what you'd like. These are flower centers, but truthfully, I would rather paint flowers than glue little tiny circles to the center of most of my flowers. I'm trying to select them to move them out of the way. There we go. All right, and then this is my 1-inch scale square, and it's correct, so I'm going to delete it. I don't need it anymore. These are your 2 door options, and for this house, I really like this door. I'm going to rotate it just so you can see it a little better. Go under More, rotate. I'm going to do 90 there. And then these are the windows with window, kind of the center of the windows. So I'm going to hide the things I don't want. So first I group them and then I hide them. And that way if I want them later, I've still got them, but I just hide them on the screen. There are no score lines or anything tricky to do. So basically, you just cut this out. If you're using cardstock, I've already picked out the colors I would use, but I'm using watercolor paper, so I will cut all of this out at the same time. So I will attach them and cut them all out at the same time. And then really, since you don't have to do anything to the file, you don't have to designate score lines or anything, you can go over to Make and choose the material you're using and just run it through your machine. This is kind of an easy one. Okay, next I'll show you my machine cutting them out, and then we'll get to decorating our little house. Now I'm going to start cutting out some flowers in watercolor paper. I'm experimenting with making some dimension on my flowers. I always try different things. This time I'm going to spray them with stain, but I'm going to put a little dimple in the middle so the stain will pool and it'll be darker in the center. I think it'll look good. This is one I did before. So anyway, I've got a little sheet of foam here. I really should have thicker foam, but this is all I could find. Thicker foam lets you do a deeper indentation with your little stylus, but it's good enough. And in a minute, I'll pull out my splat box. I'll show it to you. And I'm going to spray them with water to make the spray stain a little dilute and just see how it works. If it doesn't work, I've got some from yesterday that are okay. So we'll just see. Now you may be wondering what this is, but this is my splat box. So these are little watercolor flowers, and I'm going to spray them with some water first. And then I'm going to spray them with some stain to make some really pretty colors. So this is a Distress ink spray stain called Tumbled Glass. And I'm not sure it's going to be dark enough, but let's spray our flowers. And then I'll kind of toss them around. I like this, that the sprays do kind of variable colors, that they're not perfectly even, that it's sort of, I don't know, they're just a little splotchy, and I like that. It's a really pretty little blue. And most normal people would wear gloves when they do this. I don't mind. Getting a little messy for my art. I think these will make really pretty colors. Now, let's do a little bit more. I'll smear it around. Let's see. I think I really need to use a lot more color. I don't know if they dry more intense or less. I cannot remember. And I'm going to go back to my tumbled glass. I really like the tumbled glass. So I've done about half in tumbled glass and half mixed with the Stormy Sky. And then I let them dry. But I thought I would just show you my splat box. So that's one way of coloring lots of flowers at one time. It's with a splat box. It's just a box I opened up, add some newspaper at the bottom, and you know, you can kind of contain the mess. It's a fun mess. The other option is like I did on one of the dogwood houses. One of the dogwood houses, I painted them pink, and I painted each blossom individually. And again, I don't mind doing that. I like it. You can, of course, use just regular cardstock, but I just like the dimension. I just like the variation in color that you get when you either paint or spray your projects. I just think it brings them to life. But as Tim Holtz says, you do you. You know, you have to take into account your time constraints. I'm retired now, so I have more time. So anyway, I hope you have fun making flowers for your fairy houses. All right, these are all the pieces for the 5-petal flower. This is a base. This is a piece of 4 pieces of cardboard glued together, and obviously it's got 5 petals. I painted it pink. And this is the hexagon base we're going to use. I'm going to use this as the kind of template, so I'm sure to glue it in the right conformation. And then I'm using the top from the Cricut Joy pattern because it's shorter and I just wanted to do something different. And remember, when you glue it down, the windows aren't exactly in the middle, they're on the lower side, and that's because the cap, the little roof, overhangs, and so it ends up making the windows functionally in the middle. But just want to remind you of that so you don't do it upside down, because it will obscure the windows, or I just think they look funny that way. But I mean, you can do it if you want. All right, so that is the house structure. Oh, and I just want to show you the difference between the Cricut Joy roof and the regular roof. So it's shorter. It's about an inch or inch and a half shorter, just so people who have a Cricut Joy have some options. These are the flowers that I've stained. They didn't exactly work the way I want. I like the color variability, so they're not all the same color, but I was hoping that the stain would kind of drip down into the center and form a darker center, but it didn't. So what I'm going to do is just paint yellow centers. I know, boring, but I'm going to paint yellow centers. These are some leaves. I painted them. You could, as always, you can use cardstock. And I kind of bend them so that they're not exactly flat. And you can see how I use them on the roof line of this dogwood one. So they'd have a little more dimension. Also, there's a branch pattern too. This is the door I'm going to use, and this is in the door options. I forgot to add that for the first 2 days, but I will add it. I will add it to the files so you'll have it. And basically, I use a darker color in the back and then glue this on top, which we can do right now. So when I have a piece with lots of cutouts, I like to apply the glue to that piece to try to minimize the glue showing through. And we really don't need much. So I like this little leafy door. I even included a little doorknob cutout. We'll let that dry. And now I'm just going to paint the flowers. I've got a bright yellow paint, mustard seed, a Tim Holtz, and a little teeny brush. So he's got a little tip. And let's see if we like this color. It may be too much. We'll see. Okay, it kind of looks white on my screen, but I think that's a good color. I think it's going to work. So I'm going to spend some time doing that, and then I'll get back with you when we glue the house to the base, and then we'll add the flowers as the windows and to the roof. I'm going to glue this little house to the base because I believe it's easier to decorate when it's all put together. Some houses I like to decorate before, but this one I think is easier if we, oops, wait, I forgot something. I'm going to glue the hexagon to the center of my flower base, and that way I know I will arrange it correctly. Okay, now I'm going to apply glue, a thick bead of glue, to the base of the house. And remember, the windows go towards the bottom, and it looks like a good hexagon. Now, I'm going to let that dry, and we can glue the flowers on the rooftop. So I've added centers to all of the flowers, and I've got some leaves. I think these are proportionately too big. I'm probably going to use the tiny leaves because I want the leaves to sort of form a background and make the flowers pop. I'm going to use a lighter weight glue for the decorative elements. I don't need it to be as strong as the glue to hold the bottom of the house to the base. So this is my Barely Art glue. This is my stylus, and I'm going to use it to push the flowers to help them adhere. I like it. I'm not using the leaves behind every flower. I'm just kind of randomly applying leaves. I think it's actually easier to apply the glue to the roof and then stick the flower on. I think that works better. You always just have to experiment, see how stuff goes. Okay, I think that's it for the fairy house top. Now I'm going to add the door. Let me pick, is there one side? This is the back seam, so I'm going to pick this for the front. I'm going to glue the door on. If I had a circular a circular house, then I would kind of bend it a little bit, but the hexagon has flat sides. Apply some glue to the back. There we go. Now let's add some windows. The hexagon house has 6 windows, and that pattern you find on day 1 of the Whimsical Fairy House challenge. Oh, it actually only has 5 windows. One places the door. I always prepare extra windows just in case they don't cut out properly or something like that. Let's figure out how we can make this look better. I put all these flowers around the door and it just looks so ugly. I had to take them off, and I actually kind of washed off the glue, and it looks much better now. And I had a leaf behind this window that did not look good. And now it's much better. It's a very pink house. It's a little pinker than I expected. I wanted it to be paler, but I still like it. Now I'm going to add the windows to the windows, the window frames to the windows. See, it really defines the windows better. Even though I painted the panes yellow, I think it defines it better. Okay, Fairy House number 3 is done for day number 3. This is the simple 5-petal flower, and like I said, it's pink. I thought it would be a little more subtle, but the spray stains are very vibrant. So anyway, that is the way it looks. And you can hide a treat inside. And I don't know. I just think little kids would just love to have this on their dresser or something. Store their little treasures inside. But anyway, that's it. And I hope you'll join me tomorrow. I believe it is shamrocks and clovers. So we're going to do kind of the same thing, only with shamrocks and clovers. We'll do a different house shape. All right, I will see you tomorrow.